Got a few things to say right now. I want to put Neville Goddard's teachings to the ultimate test. I'm not saying this is going to be easy, since it will require my attention on at all times. From today, I found out that life, although you see physical objects, if you get still enough, you see they have no label other than the one you generate towards them. Can this bring something into being from the unseen? I do not know, but it 100% changes your experience. So, life, nothing has an inherent meaning, an inherent attachment to it. The way you feel about it is the way it is. But does this manifest reality? I have no idea. What's the difference between me looking at this object that I call a lamp, and that what I'm using to describe it is that it generates light, versus if I just didn't have those labels and just seeing it for what it is? It's still shining light, right? It's still sitting there. I just don't say it's shining light, and I don't say it's a lamp. I'm just paying attention to it. It's still there. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing, that can it bring something from the unseen into being? Let me keep going. Let me move on to the next card. And usually, what you experience will be pushed out and translated to the outside world. To what degree, I do not know. I find doing yoga sessions before messing around with the thought process works best. It allows for you to hop in the state you wish with ease and to not be distorted by random thought patterns and states. In that clear space, you simply project what you want as if you have it. Doing images works, anything to get into the state, anything to get the state charged up and feel real. So this thing that I'm saying, and usually what you experienced will be pushed out. At the very basic level, if somebody's angry, he will push out his anger, and he will get that anger. If someone is joyful, he will push out his joy, and he'll get that joy. It's very basic. If someone is joyful and someone who's angry comes up to them and becomes angry at them, if the person remains joyful, his joy will still be pushed out no matter what happens to him. Regardless of the situation, his experience is a joyful one. You know what I'm saying? Does it manifest into things being joyful on the outside? I don't know, because Jesus got nailed to the cross, but he had the realization of God. So the idea of suffering to him probably was nothing, because he had something much greater within his being. It's sort of like that. Let's move on to the next one. To fully listen and do Neville's way is to remain in the desired state until it operates without the need of the will. To fully listen and do Neville's way is to remain in the desired state until it operates without the need of the will, and to do it while drifting to sleep. Experiencing the state is the end, and as far as you're concerned, your wish has been granted. What happens is people say, where is it? When is it going to come? And that in and of itself manifests the idea of you not having it. What you're projecting is the doubt of feeling of it's not here. So essentially what's happening is, when you enter into the clear state where there's no thought fluctuations, you're just aware, awareness of being, what Neville Goddard describes it as, many different names, stillness, universal consciousness, whatever you want to call it. It's that place that's unbothered by the fluctuations of thoughts and emotions, untouched. If you decide to project a state of being in that untouched space of what you want, as if you already have it, what I'm saying is that in of itself, that experience in and of itself, as far as you're concerned, the goal is already completed. What happens is you open your eyes, or you quickly begin to identify with a passing thought that says, where is it? When is it going to come? If you pay attention, there's a doubt that says it's not here. So essentially what's happening is you're using the same space of thought projection to project the idea of where is it, when is it going to come. Project this idea that it is not here. So you spend all that time generating the feeling as if it's real, and it is real in terms of your experience, that you feel it as real and it's here right now. But you spend all that time generating that experience just for a passing thought to say, okay, but where is it? I don't see it manifested. When you pay attention, what's happening is in that same space of the mind where you felt it as real, so too is the doubt of where is it? When is it going to come? Now it enters your mind. Now what your experience is, I don't have it. Where is it? I don't see it. That's what you're saying now with the same space that you used to generate the specific emotion. Next card. I asked the question, does this technique manifest reality? This question creates the doubt, and it causes someone to look for the signs and ultimately believe and feel they don't have it. So then they project that and it manifests. People are essentially making their destiny with this principle, but they are so caught up in it that they forget they are the ones choosing to remain identified with the passing thoughts of limitation. Can I, possible, or whatever. Basically, is something possible? Can I do it? Is what Sadhguru describes as like the biggest curse to humanity. Is something possible? Is something not possible? Is like beyond, like is not something that's is not something that you should worry about. He says it's nature's business. Sadhguru says it's nature business. Your business is to put what you want in your mind and to just strive for it. But in what way? Saying, can I? I don't think so. I think it has to be sort of real. It has to be something that's a living reality. And at the end of the day, it's all illusionary thought process. We all live by this illusionary thought process. It's a funny thing, bro. It's not something that you can literally describe. Let me move on to what I want to say next. That's it for the cards, though. What I wanted to say is, in terms of the experience, thoughts and emotions pass by. Depending on how long you stay with one thought and emotion in the awareness is how much stuck and identified it is within you. So, for example, if you are walking at 3 miles an hour, then to stop, there's no friction. You're not going to keep going in that direction. You'll stop quite quickly. But if you're moving at something, if you're moving in a particular direction at 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, 100,000 miles an hour, then stopping is not as easy as just completely stopping. It would require you to eject yourself out of the seat, which is like getting into the state of like Christ consciousness, universal consciousness, pure awareness of being. But if you're in the thought, getting out of it can be quite tricky. You have to eject yourself out of it. It's pretty tricky. I say this to say because people have created such strong attachments and identifications in their life that getting out of it, they can't really slow down as easy. They're just moving in one direction at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Or maybe they're moving the left to the right, to up, to down, to diagonal at millions of miles an hour and can't seem to stop the universal control of what this life is. And I say this to say as well, I don't know much about manifestation, but I can say that if you take a thought and you take an emotion, right, and you place it in the awareness of being and you intensify it, regardless if it's a sad, mad, happy, joyful, whatever type of thought it is, and you intensify it and you keep it going in one direction, you keep it steady, just on at all times, then it will become powerful to the point where you no longer need to invoke it or ignite it or use the will to keep it sustained. It kind of operates on its own. And then it becomes you. And it's happening right now. In my case, Julius, Adult, One Piece, Marvel, DC, mom, dad, brother, dog. You know, all these identifications were thoughts and emotions in a particular way, which ultimately is leading me in a particular direction. So if I were to hypothetically take an imaginary thought of what would it be like were I to have $1 million to be a multimillionaire, and I feel what it would be like, and I keep that shit growing, eventually the experience of it being real will happen. Now, will I just be a a joyful person in some sort of psychosis? I don't know, bro. I don't know. That's one thing that I have not answered. It's a funny thing. It's like the same thought process will manifest reality. The same thought process can make you feel like you're just in a joyful psychosis. You know? I don't know. I don't know. I say this to say I don't know at the end of the day in terms of manifestation. At the end of the day, I can speak all I want. At the end of the day, I don't know much about this manifestation stuff. I'm here, but I will try this experiment, this Neville Goddard experiment of keeping my awareness on a thought and emotion as if it's real all day long and falling asleep in the wish fulfilled. I wish to do this experiment. I will do this experiment. And look how I'm using the thoughts and emotions. These are thoughts and emotions. I did this experiment. I'll probably try one day and see how the day goes. And then I can try, and then I can work my way up to 2, 3, 4, 5 days. But I won't keep it on all the time because, you know, you're moving, you use the thoughts and emotions in one direction, it could become very powerful and you can cause damage to yourself. So I won't go as hard. I will start light, and it's like going to the gym. You start with lightweight and then eventually you get stronger. Anyways, this is what I want to say.